Howdy, folks. WouldyouAlsoNeedCoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. And, there we go. And let me tell you how this works for the Wayhomers. I've just seen a film. The cinema's that way. I walked out here directly to my car, and I'm going to tell you about it on my way home. It just saves time that way. And the film we're going to talk about this evening is Priest. Okay, so, Priest. Synopsis. Apparently, mankind and vampire kind have always been at war and fighting, trying to kick each other's asses. And of course, vampires are, well, they're vampires, so they're a lot harder to kill than we are. And so, the one weapon, this is from the animation that opens the thing, the one weapon that we have that we can count on in the movie is the sun. Although, you can't count on that from an audience point of view. We'll get to that in a second. But anyway, so eventually we're fighting and fighting and fighting, and we wreck the world because we've been fighting so much. And, mankind's getting their asses kicked, and they come up with a new weapon, which are priests. And priests are somehow powered with, like, they have the wire fu, basically. They're born with the wire fu, or they develop wire fu, apparently. And that enables them to move with the speed of vampires and flip around and kick ass, basically, if you're a priest. And you get a tattoo of a cross on your face, thus proving the fact that, you know, in this world anyway, crosses don't do shit against vampires, because otherwise all you'd have to do is go, and they would, but it doesn't work. So anyway, the priests kick so much vampire ass that the vampires are dwindled down to nothing and are basically left in reservations. Because what you want to do, obviously, when you're facing a species of creature, not just, and these aren't even vampires that are in the normal sense of vampires that we think of as vampires, which is set up very poorly, again, by the film, is that these vampires are bestial-looking, eyeless, fanged somethings that just look like, I don't know, they're like Gollum on crystal meth, basically. So when you're facing down a species like this, of course what you want to do is take the ones that are left and put them in a reservation so that they can rise up later and try to kill you again. I'd do that, wouldn't you? Of course you would do that. Oh, the rage zombies? No, let's not wipe them out. Let's save some of them for a rainy day. You know, we'll put them in some Tupperware to keep them, you know, moist or whatever, and we'll just stick them away for, you know, there may come a time when we get bored and we decide that we'd like another apocalypse. Sure, why not? Of course. So, I mean, yeah, and it's not even like a mad scientist, because mad scientists will do that, right? I mean, they'll put some smallpox in the pantry for a rainy day, right? Okay, but this was apparently a mankind decision. Let's just stash some vampires just in case. Okay, fine. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting off. So we kicked their asses. That's where we were, ass kicking, and then basically locked them away and thought everything was fine. The priests get returned to society, much like soldiers always do. Nobody knows what to do with them because they're like hardcore ass kickers, right? And nobody wants to be around them. And so all is well until, oh my God, someone let the smallpox out of the pantry and the vampires start going nuts again. But of course, the church, okay, the world that we've turned into is kind of like a cross between Blade Runner and that classic Apple commercial based on the idea of 1984, right, the novel. It's like that filtered through the Vatican. That's what the world's turned into. So, I mean, the big church, if we assume, and I'm assuming this is based on the Catholic Church because they've got all the priests and the monsignors and whatever else. So, if they're not willing to deal with priests who, like, you know, can't keep their hands off of kids. There's no way in hell they're going to admit to the fact that they've got a vampire menace coming on, okay? And so, as a result, vampire menace is coming back up again. They deny it, and so you have to get Paul Bettany as the priest to go out and kick ass yet again. So there's your synopsis. Okay, pro tip. If you're making a vampire film, even one that looks like it could be a fun, dumb, post-apocalyptic sci-fi vampire western, okay? Even when you're throwing so many genres at the audience that you hope they might not notice some of the, you know, wrinkles in your idea. Here's a pro tip. If nothing else, make sure the audience understands what role the sun takes in all this. Because when we go into a movie about vampires, what's one of the assumptions, right? Oh, well, sunlight kills them. Okay? Then the opening animation says, and their weapon was the sun. Clearly showing vampires and humans fighting under a full-on sun, right? So you go, okay, it doesn't appear to be a very effective weapon, but apparently the sun doesn't work. Then you have night attacks and all this stuff happening, and you go, okay, maybe it does work. Then you see they've got the human blood slave type of characters, and they can be out in the sun, and that's weird. But then they put the vampires away from the sun, so it's just like, and then you see a certain, you know, particular character standing in full sunlight. It's like, you know, rules are important when you're building a world, people. Especially when you're trying to put a spin on an existing sort of legend / creature type of thing. At least let us know where the hell we stand, okay? Like I said, it's fairly obvious from the get-go that crosses don't really work unless you put spiky bits on them, okay? That's totally fine. But, I mean, the sun is pretty basic, all right? Nobody's asking you to define, you know, whether silver works or not, or running water, or roses, but the freaking sun. Get it straight so that we know what's happening. Otherwise, we're just going to be really confused, okay? So, and that's indicative of the film. That's the film in a nutshell. Paul Bettany is great, even though he is talking with the Christian Bale Batman gravelly voice where he talks like this, where you think, I don't even know if you can hear me with this truck going by because I'm talking in the Paul Bettany priest voice. And he does it so well that I'm going, is he dubbed? Because this doesn't sound like Paul Bettany. And I love Paul Bettany, okay? I think Paul Bettany kicks ass. Paul Bettany was my pick for the Joker, buddy. So I dig me some Paul Bettany, but he just needs to be in a film where he's not wasted. Because he was great in this, even with wire fu and stuff like that, can't be helped. It doesn't help that some of the dialogue is so bad that, you know, it's painful to watch people try to say it. Carl Urban, who is fantastic in, you know, pretty much everything that he's done, he's having fun in this, but, you know, I'm not having fun watching him, and it's not his fault. So, you know, they're doing the best they can with the material, but, I mean, stuff like this, it's just basic stuff, people. Don't show me a town off in the distance where there is nothing between me, the audience, and you, the characters I'm with, and the town, okay? And say, oh, something there, that's the place. Having established that you've got bikes that can, like, shoot across the landscape at 250 miles an hour, and then, first of all, you don't see the big thing happening in the town later on that evening when it's big enough. When you could see the town from there, you could have seen something happening from that distance. And then you get there the next day. How does that work? And I understand that you've got, you know, your environmentally friendly solar-powered bikes, but at least say something like, we'll be there in the morning. We've got to turn in for the night so that we can charge our bikes by, I don't know, they got there pretty early in the day, it seemed like. Some moonlight? I don't know. I don't understand. If I don't understand what the sun can do, I probably don't understand what the moon can do either. So, just basic stuff like that where you're going, but that doesn't, what? And it's like, I understand, and we've talked about this before in these, is that, you know, there are certain films where I turn the brain off, show me a good time, show me stuff blowing up, vampires get punched in the face, and crosses and the flippy shit, and I'm good. But, you know, there's a certain point at which, especially when you've got long stretches of character dialogue that's bad, where in order for me to find something to do with my time, I'll start asking questions like that, you know? Huh, well that's weird, I wonder why X. And after you get about, I don't know, 6 or 7 of those, you're out of it. And believe me, brain was turned off. When I heard the first 2 pieces of dialogue in this film, I went, oh no, you don't need to be on, click. And I was fine. But then it woke up and it was angry. So, I mean, that's my problem. It had a decent enough idea, even though it didn't establish it very well. It didn't establish the world very well. It didn't explain to me why these vampires were, you know, like I said, crystal meth golems. I didn't understand that. It took me a while to figure that out. I thought, oh, well, these must be the soldiers or something. Surely they'll show up in a minute, the real vampires. Oh, those are the real vampires. Oh, okay. So it's always good if you, like, establish things so you don't have to wake up your brain to try to ask, brain, do you understand what's going on? And it's like, I've been asleep and you've pissed me off. So, that's the problem. Just because you're throwing out a bunch of genres and stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't clean up some things. Or at least, you know, use the Armageddon effect, ask a few questions, bits of dialogue in certain places, so that we don't mind. Now, that being said, a couple of other quick things before I talk about the cups. Basically, the 3D, apart from some cross-flippy shit, is pretty much pointless unless you get off on watching post-apocalyptic landscapes and you really want to have bits of soot and things in your face. Okay? So that's a waste. But I would say don't go see it in the cinema anyway. I mean, if this is your thing, wait and watch it on video. And I think you will be perfectly content. If you had some doubts as to whether or not this was going to be your thing, it's probably not your thing. So don't even worry about it. So disappointing. And that's why I'm saying, cup-wise, we're talking like, I don't know, a cup and a half, I think. That's about all I can spare for it. Just the fact of it's going to get to the point where the only people watching 3D films, if they keep this up, are critics who are going to be warning people not to watch 3D films. Did this one work? No. All right, we'll stay out of them then. So forget it. So between the 3D not really adding that much to the proceedings, between watching really good actors doing the best they can with material like they have, and just not knowing at times what was going on, and at times when I knew what was going on, not understanding what was going on, and not feeling like it was my own idiocy. Yeah, a cup and a half. So skip it. So there you have it. There's another Wayhomer for you. I hope that this answers your questions, because I know there are some of you that were wondering about this film. And that's my take on it. You might have a completely different take. So thank you to everyone who watches these things and shares them with folks. We really do appreciate it. That helps us out more than you know. A couple of quick things of business. As always, if we do save you a few bucks, throw us some. You can find the Support Need Coffee graphic on the site, and you click that and it'll take you to where, for just pennies a day, you can help pay for stuff like, you know, this gas, or the fact that I need a new air conditioner. So there's that. And also, if you don't have any money to spare, but you are going to buy things off of Amazon, you can find a way to do so through Need Coffee, and we get kickbacks for you doing that. So if you're going to do it anyway, why not throw some pence at somebody who needs it and loves you like we do. Otherwise, websites just want you for your body, whereas we love you for who you are. So anyway, this is Widget Walls, and we will see you next time for another Wayhomer. We've got a lot of films to go through this summer, and we'll get as many of them as we possibly can. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye.